Daniel 9:24-27 speaks of two anointed ones. I say it is possible that the text does speak of two anointed ones. The first in 9:25 and the second in 9:26. So first in one setting and the second over 400 years later. This depends on how the 70 weeks are divided, but this presents no problem at all, since it is clear that if there are two anointed ones, the second anointed one is the Messiah, and the Messianic era had to be inaugurated before the second temple was destroyed, thus pointing decisively to Jesus as the key figure of whom the text speaks. Now, the interesting thing about this passage is that Rashi, the foremost biblical and Talmudic commentator, lived from 1040 to 1105. We reference him in the glossary of each of these volumes. When he interprets this verse, he talks about things happening within the generations surrounding the time of Yeshua, okay? Because, of course, you end up with the destruction of the temple, which is 40 years after Messiah's death, resurrection. So we all know the general time frame where it ends. But then he just goes on he jumps over to the Messianic age. It's a peculiar thing. I'm not a Rashi scholar, but I studied the writings of Rashi scholars, and I've discussed this with other rabbis. It's kind of a strange jump from this text here, and boop, and in the days of the Messiah. I think, well, where'd that come from? He's talking about the future, way future still, even from his own day. How could it be? There's the famous story of Rachmiel Friedland, who grew up as an ultra-Orthodox Jew in Poland, and great suffering survived the Holocaust. Went into a meeting. It was Jewish believers in Jesus. He went to the meeting, and he heard them praying, and as I recall the testimony, he just laughed to himself because they were praying in Yiddish. They were just speaking to God in their own familiar language, and for him that was a strange thing, because he was just used to saying the prayers of the rabbis, many of which are beautiful, wonderful prayers, but that's how you pray. Almost all of your prayers, you're reciting prayers that have been written in a book for the community of Israel to pray together, etc. So that was kind of comical of him to hear somebody talking to God like that. But when he went and studied out Daniel 9:24-27, one of the things that convinced him that the rabbinic interpretation was wrong was when he read Rashi's interpretation. He saw it couldn't possibly be right. Couldn't possibly be right. This is a brilliant, insightful Rashi. He saw it couldn't be right. And then when he heard the Messianic interpretation referring to Yeshua, there it was. There it was.